Time where we check in on the top business story of the day. Toronto housing prices, they are heating up again. Jameson Berkow is joining us from B&M Bloomberg with more on our hot real estate market.
It was a bit of a reprieve, though. We definitely had a sort of lull, if you want to call it that. I know any prospective home buyers who don't have property in the Greater Toronto Area, who want property in the Greater Toronto Area, who might be watching, might be a little frustrated by these figures because they are climbing in every category. The only category that is still under a tiny bit of water is the detached segment. Of course, that had just been a runaway freight train of price increases in recent years. So to say that the average price is
over $1 million.
Right, it's still well over $1 million, especially in the core area, like the 416 area code. I think the average over the last month is about $1.3 million, and still a little over $1 million, even if you average it out over the suburban 905 area code. So detached market still really hot, but a lot of people who don't have a seven-figure price range are moving into the condo market, which is why they're still growing in terms of percentage growth by something like 8% on a year-over-year basis. Huge increases in the prices of condos because so many people who wanted a detached home or even a semi-detached home are thinking, well, I can't afford that. I got to buy something.
Right.
So I'm going to get a little shoebox in the sky.
Listen, the rest of the country may hate Toronto, but apparently everybody wants to live here because that keeps driving up the housing market.
It's a bit of a contrast.
We have a municipal election coming up in Toronto. This happens in October, and land transfer tax could be a ballot box issue.
Certainly, the Toronto Real Estate Board would like for it to be a ballot question, I would imagine, Anne-Marie. They had this poll out. Not going to surprise you, I don't think. I don't need to go through any of the numbers. Suffice to say, there is strong support for either reducing or repealing the land transfer tax. I mean, honestly, if I'm going to go and ask you, do you want lower taxes or higher taxes? I don't really think I need to ask you that question. But still, it does suggest that this is a hot-button issue. And we do have that municipal election, although Doug Ford, now the Premier of Ontario, no longer a direct challenger or threat to the Mayor of Toronto, John Tory. So that might actually soften the drama a little bit.
And just to give people across the country a sense of how expensive it is here, because when you come from a province like Alberta, where it's mostly an administrative fee, it is in the tens of thousands of dollars in Ontario.
If you're going to be buying a, say, $800,000 home in Toronto, which sounds like a huge amount of money virtually anywhere in the country outside of, say, Vancouver, you'll end up spending $20,000 to $30,000 just on the land transfer tax. That's not even talking about the, the plethora of other fees, like lawyers' fees and so forth and so on, that tend to get included when you buy a home. So it is definitely something that causes a lot of ire. But remember, Toronto property taxes are actually comparably quite low. So I may have made a number of enemies just mentioning that. But it is comparably true. Do the math, folks.
Thanks so much, Jameson.
My pleasure.